What to grow in April? Just 5 brilliant plants that I think you absolutely have to grow. Some from seed, some that you can go out and buy as plants, things that are going to give you flowers, things that are going to give you food, so that you can have a really brilliant mix in your own garden. Hey everyone, how's it going? And welcome back. April is a brilliant month for growing, whether it's going out to the garden centre and treating yourself to something, whether it's starting things from seed, whether it's about planning for the future and thinking about flowers and edibles. But at this time of year, when there's so much choice of what to grow, it can get a little bit too much. So that's where this video comes in. So let's get stuck in. When I think of growing food from seed, I think of two main groups. The first are really nice quick crops like salads and radishes and things like that, leafy greens. And then on the other side are plants that are going to take a little bit longer to grow. But what you're doing is you're investing in the future. And that's what I want to recommend now. A great crop to start by sowing now, and you're going to be able to eat way later into next year. And it's these lovely little plants. Well, they're little at the moment. They're going to get fairly big once they're mature. These are early purple sprouting broccoli plants that I started a couple of weeks ago from seed. The seed itself is really pretty inexpensive. You can find it almost everywhere, and it's not fussy when it comes to germination. Sprinkle some on some compost, give it just a little bit of protection. The seedlings will come up, and what I choose to do is I choose to pop them on into pots about this size, grow them on under a little bit of protection just to get them started so they're nice and sturdy, and then I'm going to plant them out in the beds. Now, I said that these are about the future. These take quite a bit of growing. In fact, they're going to grow all the way through this year. They're going to sit pretty dormant through the winter, and then come early spring next year, that's when these are going to start to produce those lovely little florets that you can eat. And what I really like about purple sprouting broccoli is that rather than creating that typical head of broccoli or a calabrese, that one big head, instead it produces lots of little spears of lovely purple sprouting broccoli. The clue's in the name. It is so tasty. You could almost eat it raw if you really wanted to. My favourite thing is to cut it and add it into stir fries. I think it adds a really nice, interesting flavour, colour and texture. But you can just steam it and have it as any kind of side dish. They are fantastic. So if you're looking for something to get started now, to keep in the ground for a while so that you have something to get you through next year's hungry gap, have a think about early purple sprouting broccoli. We've come down to the bottom of the Guild garden, and I'm going to show you something that I haven't really touched on in my videos so far for my next recommendation. It's this. This is my veggie pod, and it's a brilliant raised bed that also has a growing cover, and this is where I grow most of my salads and my leafy greens. And that is what I want to recommend next, growing lettuces and salads. It seems like such an obvious thing to recommend, but a bit like tomatoes, growing your own lettuces and leafy greens are an absolute winner because of flavour, texture, taste, and the sheer variety that you can get when you grow your own things from seed. My specific varieties, if I had to recommend any, are growing here. The first one is called Black-Seeded Simpson. It's a really unusual name, and it produces these lovely, nice, kind of partly frilly, partly soft but partly crunchy leaves that have a lovely flavour. They are the most bright green, really lime green. I love these, and I'll grow these almost like a cut and come again. So I'll break off a couple of leaves around the bottom of the base, which I'll eat, leave the plant growing, and I'll keep harvesting like that, and it gives me continued harvests. Behind it, I have another absolute beauty, and it's called Merveille des Quatre Saisons, or Marvel of the Four Seasons, because it is really tough and you can grow it pretty much all year round, even if in the winter it does need a little bit of cover. You see it's got not just green, but this lovely bronze to the leaf. And again, slightly crispy, slightly soft, that perfect middle kind of leaf. these are really nice in salads. Now, the trick with salads is to make sure that you keep on sowing, because if they get a blast of heat and sun, they can end up bolting and they go bitter and they turn to flower and seed. And also, if you enjoy eating them, you're just going to romp through them. So every couple of months, I will sow a little seed tray of some more seeds, then prick them out into modules just like this. And you can see that once the plants are about this size, about maybe an inch high and a couple of inches across, with a nice developed root system, that's when I would plant them out. You can plant them directly outdoors. You can plant them into a covered growing area. You can plant them into something like this veggie pod. They're going to do really nicely for you. Just make sure that you grow loads. Quick one from me. If you're finding this video enjoyable or useful, or hopefully both, then please do me a favour and hit the like button down below. Doing that really helps me as a channel, because it tells YouTube that people like yourself are enjoying and finding the video useful. And while you're at it, if you're not already a subscriber, because I know that loads of you aren't, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon. That way you'll be notified when I create more videos. Now, back to the April plant recommendations. I always say that for me, the magic of gardening is having a real mix of things. So if you're into flowers, also grow some edibles. And if you're into edibles, grow some flowers. And I want to recommend a great flower that you can get started now from seed, that's inexpensive, easy to grow, and quick to flower. And it's this. These rather leggy seedlings, please don't judge me. I took my eye off them for a couple of days and they got very leggy, but they're going to be absolutely fine. These are cosmos. And I think cosmos has been grown as an annual pretty much since the dawn of gardening time. But you know what? Sometimes the really traditional choices are traditional for a reason, and it's because they perform really well. And cosmos really does perform well. Start the seeds now in a little tray of compost like this. They're going to need a little bit of heat to get them going, something like a sunny windowsill or a propagator, and then prick them out, which is what I'm about to do, into pots and grow them on under cover because they are tender. Keep growing them on, and then once the last frosts have passed, plant them out. And what you're going to be rewarded with are plants that have really lovely, airy, ferny foliage, and then big, open flowers. Really nice, almost like how a child would draw a simple flower shape. They're great for pollinating insects, so it's good for biodiversity, but they're good for us as well because they are just so cheering. They come in a whole range of colours, everything from whites to buttery, yellowy, creamy colours to pinks, all the way through to what I have chosen to grow and what I grow pretty much every year now, which is one called Rubenza that has these deep, dark, magenta, almost red flowers. They're so rich and so impactful that I really like dotting them through the garden. They are really versatile. So if you've grown them before, get out and grow some more. And if you've never grown them before, go out, get some seeds, give them a go. I think you're going to enjoy them, and let me know how you get on in the comments down below. Each month, I like to recommend one plant that I describe as more of an investment piece, something that rather than growing from seed, you'll most likely go out and buy, spend a little money on, but you know what? It's going to be worth it. But this month, my investment piece is actually quite cheap as well, but it's going to give you loads of impact right around now in the spring, when, although we do have some spring flowering bulbs coming out, we are still waiting for a real pop of colour sometimes. And it's this. Isn't this gorgeous? This is a saxifrage, and technically it's an alpine, but in my experience, saxifrages are really pretty unfussy, so you can grow them in a whole load of growing conditions. And what they give you is early on in the spring, from maybe about mid to late March, all the way through to now and well into May, you get this gorgeous, absolute carpet of flowers. And because it's such a low growing plant, when you plant it in amongst stuff, it sits there very demure, very quiet for most of the year, just a lovely little mound of green leaves, and then it pops and you get this, like this pincushion of colour. If you look at this one in particular, this is a pink one. The closer you look, the more you see that each tiny little petal is like it's been hand painted. It's got stripes of white and pink, which means that because there's variation in amongst each of the petals, you get this really kind of painterly look. I in fact have one at the front of the house that isn't just like this. It's like alternating pink and white flowers. That looks incredible. It looks really different because when you look at it from a distance, it looks pale. And as you get closer, you see there's more and more interest. Now, if pink isn't necessarily your bag, because truthfully, pink often isn't mine, you can get them in white as well. In fact, you can get colours almost through to red. They're really versatile and really easy to get hold of, to plant and to grow. So this is my investment piece for this month. If you're looking for an interesting alpine style little flower, go for these. I think they're brilliant and I think they are so worth the investment. As you can see, I'm starting to get my twiggy pea sticks into place, and there's a clue about what my next recommendation is going to be. Peas. Grow all of them. Absolutely all of them. End of. I am kidding, but actually, in a way, I'm not kidding. Peas are a great thing to grow. They are simple, they're affordable, they're easy to get hold of, and most of all, when you're growing an edible, the taste has to be good. It has to be something special and it has to make it worth your while. And there is nothing quite like the taste of a fresh pea shelled out of its pod, or if it's more like a sugar snap or mange tout variety, just biting into it and getting that ultra fresh taste and crunch. Now, it is a brilliant time to get peas started from seed, and if you're not used to growing things from seed, because I know some of you are real beginners at growing, peas are a great place to start because the seeds are nice and large, they're easy to handle, and the germination rates are really high. So you're going to get that feel-good feeling that they're working and they're germinating and that you're doing something right. So for early peas, I would recommend 3. 1, Sienna. The second one is called Meteor, very well-known one and very easy to come by. And finally, Douce Provence, a great one. All 3 of those are going to perform really nice and quickly. What I would do is you can either sow them direct, but personally I find when I sow them direct, they are got by birds and slugs. So I start them off in pots, get them going. If you really want to, you can grow them in a long root trainer, get a decent bit of a plant established and then plant them out into the ground. You can plant them in rows, which is what I did last year. But this year, in keeping with the whole kind of foraging, guild garden, permaculture feel, I'm creating just these little bunches of twiggy pea sticks all the way through the garden, and that's what I'm going to grow my peas up. But if I had to recommend one out of all of the peas to grow, it would be one called Spring Blush. Now, it's more of like a mange tout sugar snap type, but I find that it is incredibly reliable in growing. It produces masses, and I mean masses, of crops. And what's lovely is each of the pods, which you just eat as is, like a sugar snap, has a lovely pink, well, blush to it. It just adds something a little bit different to your crops. And you can steam them, you can eat them fresh, you can add them to stir fries, and they are super. So get out, pick out some peas to try, sow some now, and enjoy the crops, because they're going to be coming really soon now that spring is well and truly underway. So there you have it, my top 5 plants for growing in April. I hope you give them a go and I hope you have lots of success with them and that they make you happy. The great thing about gardening though is that you don't have to stick absolutely rigidly to each month. So although this is my April video, check out my March video here for some other great recommendations that are still going to be super. And at the same time, if you're in a warmer area or you're wanting to think ahead, have a look at my May video here for lots more inspiration. And until next time, see you later.